Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Bears, Tea and Tarot with me, your host, Graham Joseph Norton, and my wonderful co-host, Richard Jones. You're very welcome to be here with us today. Hi, Richard. How are you?
I'm good, my love. Nice to see you. On episode 4, it's like storming ahead.
I know. Aren't we taking over the airwaves? There we go.
I love the airways. It's funny because it's like, I know everyone talks about it differently, but it's like, to me, it's radio. It's just a brand new version of radio in my head. But, there we go. I love it.
Well, do you know what? We're going to give a shout out to some of my students that come to where I work with in the school, because apparently some of them sit there with their parents and listen to our show.
Oh, bless them.
Apparently, and they find it. Yeah, one girl told me she apparently listens to all the meditations on the floor with her mother. She finds it really calming. Isn't that lovely?
That is fantastic.
We're reaching the youth. We're going to be cool.
Even when I was a youth, I wasn't cool, so this will be a first.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
And this is our first of our 2-a-month episodes as well. So
I know. So we're getting to spend lots of time together again, which is great. It's always good.
Yes. It is. It's fantastic. So how you been? What's been going on with you?
How have I been? Well, I'm grand. The last couple of weeks have been very busy with work and stuff. I had the cult yesterday. So one of the cults gave me a new mug for our show.
Oh my God.
It's Le Creuset, and in my favorite colors.
Oh, Le Creuset, so trendy.
Le Creuset, I know. So it's probably the most expensive thing I own. but yes, and I've changed my tea brand.
Oh, who are we this time?
Well, this week we're feeling Robert Roberts, which arrived in Ireland in 1905. So that's a good pedigree. It's 120 years, it's grand. And it's a mixture of Kenya and Assam teas, and it's actually quite nice. So that's the tea of the day.
Not that you have a brand, but I'm drinking it from this mug, and I can't mention any names. I don't know whether we get into trouble, but that's the mug. Twinings black tea.
What happened to Margaret's Hope? Did she lose it?
Again. I'm just mixing it up. I'll have some Margaret's Hope.
You mix it up, yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's not
she ran out of hope.
I only got a little bit of it when I got it, so we'll order more. But yes, I'll be having some of that again another time. But yeah.
Well, today I'm going to, for our meditation today, when I get to do it, we'll be talking a bit about hope, but I'll talk about that when I get there. So what we are doing, what else is happening? So I've actually been invited to my first ever international conference for mediums.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, so I'm going to be giving a talk on all the stuff that I do outside of other things. So I'm doing my talk is on the return of Christ consciousness into the psyche. So it's psychology and mediumship and spirituality. So it's going to be a very interesting conversation. That's the end of May. There's mediums from all over the world coming to do it. It's all online, which is great as well.
And you don't have to go anywhere.
No, thank God. Yeah. So Martha, the medium that I did the online Instagram live thing. So we're doing another one this week, and she's organizing the conference. So she asked me to do it. She said, "Oh, everybody loved you," and I'm like, "Well, I am a big bear. Everybody wants a cuddle." So it's a spiritual cuddle. But yeah. So what are we doing? So then I had my healing group yesterday, and so I did a whole masterclass on the neuroscience of manifestation, as well as we gave a really cool talk about Morgana and Merlin as archetypes of the divine feminine and masculine. And I did some past life regressions with them. It was really powerful. A lot of healing for the day. It was really nice. And next month, because it's the Marian month, we're focusing on the Divine Mother in all her aspects, and we're going to teach them some energy healing. So that's kind of nice for the day. So lots going on, and then I've been other than that, I've been working on my book. I've been very productive. It's kind of nearly done. So yeah. I think I'll get a huge chunk of it done during the Easter holidays, which is nice. So because I'm off for a week, so I'm going to lock myself in a room and just get going. So yeah, so that's kind of really where I am. Of course, you've been in Los Angeles sunning yourself and having having a wonderful with all the beautiful people down in LA.
Well, it was beautiful, but there wasn't a lot of sun. It was one of those where you go to LA and it was like misty and overcast every day. The sun came out as I was leaving, so the afternoon drive to the airport on the way home was lovely. You saw LA in glorious sunshine. But no, it was a great week, very busy, lovely. I mean, I'm flush with a new kind of, my first working week in Los Angeles was great.
Which is amazing, yeah.
So we'll see. Lots of hard work ahead. Lots of lovely stuff going on. Really, really happy, and I'm made to feel very welcome. I was very fortunate who I met. I think you hear scary stories about TV land, and it's all very hard and very, whatever. But the people I met and the meetings I had were great. I feel very good. Very, very fortunate.
He's being very modest, but let's just say, watch this space, guys. Watch this space.
Well, it's a journey. It's not a lot to say yet. That's the thing.
No, I know. It's a journey, but every journey begins with one step.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the first project we've got is to do with my a different part of our business with Gaming Magazine, which I work with Robin Gray, of course. And Robin's the exec producer on the Gaming Awards, which I'm involved in through the company. So we were both out there working on pre-production of that. So you'll be able to see that in July. So that show, which is the Gaming Awards 2025. And we're in voting now. So there's some public votes and all that kind of stuff. We're filming the awards in May in World of Wonders small soundstage in Los Angeles in Hollywood. And
so for those of you who don't know what that is, that's where they film RuPaul's Drag Race.
That's the headquarters building. So yeah, they have a small studio there, which, I mean, RuPaul's Drag Race has grown out of that. I don't know whether it was ever filmed there in the early days, but it's now gets filmed outside in like a massive Hollywood soundstage that nobody was there when we went there. We met a few people, but everybody had left to go and film this current season finale. So they do that in a big soundstage. I don't know where. They said some town outside of LA, but I can't remember.
It's not like, do you remember I'm showing my age here, but do you remember? Well, I remember when RuPaul first started, and I used to watch it on Channel 4, and she had all the wobbly sets, a bit like Prisoner Cell Cage. Do you remember that?
I'm saying nothing.
It's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore.
I can't comment, but no. I mean, again, I should have asked whether they filmed the first season in that small soundstage, because it really is. To me, it's big, but to real Hollywood, it's tiny. But they weren't there, so it was an empty building, which was lovely because we got the full tour and saw everything, saw RuPaul's Emmys. It was like I said, it was such a lovely week. But so we're filming there in May, and then in July it goes onto the channel. We'll have our premiere party and everything in LA in July, and then we'll be able to see the Gaming Awards. And then the hope is we'll have other projects with them. Don't know. We'll see. Everything's up for chats and see what they like, and we'll see if more comes of it. But we're very thrilled to be doing this, so yeah, it's really lovely.
Well, speaking of chats, wait, I tell you what I started doing. So, Richard and I are friends on Facebook, so he actually does know this. I've become obsessed with using ChatGPT to transmute my photographs.
Well, it's not like you need to, Graham. You are very
No, it's not that, but I'm kind of doing them in all kind of anime styles and doing all sort of cool things. Like I'm the latest one, I haven't put it up yet because it's hysterical. I have myself as the Mystic Bear because of the in a sort of a He-Man outfit as in a box. It's hysterical. But because it wouldn't accept my name, because every time I kept trying to do it, it kept putting the other Graham Norton's face onto my body, and I'm kind of like, no, that's not working for me, please. It doesn't work for him. It's certainly not working for me. Yeah, him. Yes, the fake one that's not really his name, but yes, him.
We'll have to have him as a guest on one time, because
could you imagine? Could you imagine? But maybe, who knows? But the point of this was, so during April, during my Easter holidays, I am going to sit down and do my vision board, right? And my latest one. But what I since discovered that I could take photographs of myself and extract myself and put them into different scenarios, right? So I've been manifesting myself in all sorts of cool things, doing all my the things I want to manifest in my life, because obviously, you need to be able to see it. The subconscious needs to see the things. So I have myself in my TV studio interviewing guests with the tarot. I have myself doing all sorts of wonderful and weird things, channeling books and healings and all sorts. And it's freaky how it looks, but I'm like, wow, it's so cool. So that's kind of my next little project for the summer. But I kind of think for Easter, so I say, but I kind of think, gone from the three most important questions of what do you want, why do you want, what are you going to do to get it, and then who you're going to help. It will all add in. So well, it's going to be a very positive Easter.
Well, good. Well, I'm going to challenge you to something. I want you to get 3 of these lovely ChatGPT photographs and write me a little mini essay to put on our website for Bears Tea and Tarot, so we can see some of this lovely work and maybe use it to inspire something for some people.
Yeah. So do you want me to do it? Do you want me to do it on the 3 most important questions with the vision boards, and we can show how?
I mean, like at some point in the future.
Yeah.
These images, and if whatever you think, but let's use that imagery.
When they start to come true, I think it'll be really cool, wouldn't it? Already they already have, and I've got lots of lovely feedback from some of my clients. It's always nice that around this time of year, because certain people come back to me like on an annual basis for my clients that come to me for readings. And I had a guy came to me, he's been coming to me for years, and he said to me, everything you said, I can't tell you what, because it was really quite personal, but it was quite an involved court case. But apparently he, as I said to him, all the things that were happening, I could see deception, I could see this and this, and it's all after working out, and he's after winning. So it was very, very good to get that feedback. So so I'm on a bit of a roll. So
great.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a cult leader one day. Or not. But Richard and I, one of the things I'm manifesting is Richard and I are going to be sitting beside a pool in NA having cocktails one day. So we're making that happen.
You ain't that far away at this point, I have to say.
No,
it was funny. We did the little hotel we stayed in because we were on a budget this trip. So I said to Robin before we went, "Oh, do I need to pack a swimsuit?" He said, "Oh yeah, I think it's got a pool." And then like the next day, he went, "They paved over the pool. That's an old photograph." I'm like, "Oh damn!" But hey ho, it didn't dent the trip. It really didn't. But
it didn't.
We did overlook the old I Love Lucy studio that's still in existence.
Oh wow.
It's not obviously it's in some other company's hands now, but it's funny, these old studios still exist and people know what used to be made there, and that was exciting. From my window, I could see the back of this studio. Again, a small studio, but it was what they did I Love Lucy, so that felt good. So yeah, I mean that's LA. I mean everyone's like rolling their eyes at like you're round a corner and something happened here, or someone's Hollywood stars here, it's all rolls off their back. But it was nice as a newbie to experience it all.
Lovely. So yeah, that brings me on to what we're going to be talking about today. I think we need to revisit Good Old Hope again, because obviously Margaret lost her for her tea, and I think a lot of people are struggling at the moment. So this morning, as I said, I was going to do something completely different, but then I go to the gym every Monday morning and I usually take my mother shopping. So I drop her off to do her shopping and I go to the gym and I meet my personal trainer. I know it's very first world of me, but if you saw the state of me beforehand, you'd know I have to go. So anyway, I have this wonderful Belarusian lady called Katya, and she abuses me every week and I pay for it. It's all very dominatrix-like, but it's great crack. But I know she's brilliant. She's really getting me in shape. Anyway, so we did a session. I went over to collect Mum from Tesco, and she was a bit distressed. And I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "All these old people." Now my mother is 72. Notice she detached herself from this group of people. Have been stopping me, and they're all upset. And one lady said to me, she said, "I didn't think at this stage of my life I'd be having to check the prices of everything to find cheaper brands, because everybody's terrified of what's going on at the moment. I mean, prices and stuff." So I just thought, you know what? Spirit has been telling me for the last few weeks, everything is going to be absolutely fine. It really has. And I do feel it deep down in my heart and soul. And I'm hoping that's not just me being naive, but I do genuinely believe it. So I'm trying to think that maybe we just should revisit hope and just trying to re-energize ourselves. I mean, Mercury has been retrograde for the last 7 weeks, as has Venus, and they've just finally shifted. And we've had that huge, big spiritual shift of energy as Pisces has finally moved, or should I say, Neptune, should I say, has finally moved from Pisces into Aries. So the energy, we're getting momentum. So for those of us who have had a really crappy 11 years, it's about to change, and we're going to be much more positive, and we really are seeing these things happen in the world. People are standing up for themselves, and there's lots of change coming. So this is the early days, and I promise you all, I'm hoping, as I said, I'm not being naive, but my hands are on fire, so that's my spiritual truth, and my beard is standing up. So Spirit is talking to me, so it is saying things are going to change. Just don't lose hope and don't lose faith. So I thought for today we do a quick chakra rebalance and bring in some hope for ourselves, okay? Because I think we all could do it with all the heavy energies that's been going on lately. Yeah?
Sounds good, my love. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of channeling, okay? So remember, this is not a substitute to see a psychotherapist, a psychologist, or any other mental health professional, even though technically I am one because I do work as one. And we're covering ourselves legally here. So if you need help, go get it. But this is just to help you have a little extra throughout your day, a little bit of extra sparkle, as it were. So sparkle in the fur. Tell you. Anyway, so let's go on. So I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes. We're going to begin by taking a deep breath in through the nose. We're going to hold it, and we're going to release slowly through the mouth. So we're breathing in, hold, and out. Breathing in calm and releasing tension. Breathing in love and healing, and breathing out stress and worry. Allow your body to soften and allow your mind to settle, and just listen to the sound of my voice as we breathe in and out, and in and out. Now, I want you to begin by imagining a beautiful, gentle golden light above your head. It's about 3-4 inches floating above the top of your head. It's warm, it's comforting, and it's filled with healing energy. And as you breathe, this light begins to pour down over you like sunshine through soft clouds. It flows down, entering through your crown at the top of your head. And as the light touches each chakra, it gently clears, balances, and re-energizes them. Beginning with the crown at the top of your head, the golden light clears confusion, reconnecting you to the divine wisdom and purpose that you have been assigned. And now travels down to your third eye center, which is between your eyebrows. And here, the light soothes the mind, opening your intuition and inner knowing. Allow that wonderful energy to cleanse you. Moving down through your head now, it comes into your throat. And here it touches the beautiful blue throat chakra, which holds your voice, freeing you, allowing you self-expression and to speak easily and truly. Next, the energy begins to move down into your heart center, which is in the middle of your chest, which glows a beautiful emerald green. The light softens here, removing grief, bringing peace, and inviting love. Let it swell here for a moment, bringing in a deep sense of hope, joy, and inner warmth. And let's just focus our breath, allowing the breath to be breathed into this chakra. As we breathe in, the beautiful healing energy sends green energy through our body as we breathe in and out, and in and out, and in and out, bringing in a beautiful sense of love and peace for ourselves and for all around us. One more time in and out. Next, the energy travels down to our solar plexus, which is just above our navel. It's a beautiful yellow chakra. This is where our confidence is. And I want you to feel your confidence return to you. You're calling it back through this chakra. Your personal power is becoming restored as we breathe in and out. And in and out. And in and out. And moving next to our sacral chakra, which is just below the navel. Here is the creativity and emotional flow of our life. Feel this creativity and emotional flow gently become reawakened, for it's been blocked for a while. I want you to feel safe and be able to feel again. Allow this beautiful, beautiful orange light to flood you as you breathe in and out, and in and out, and in and out. And next, the energy begins to travel down to your root chakra, which is at the base of your spine. It's a beautiful red color. And here, the golden light mixes with your root chakra to create a really powerful red pulse, which grounds you, helping you feel connection to the earth, restoring your sense of support and balance, allowing you to feel supported by Mother Earth herself, feeling held in her embrace and feeling safe. Allow this energy to just transfix you to the spot as we breathe in and out, and in and out, and in and out, knowing that you will carry this light with you. It will guide you forward with hope in your heart and peace in your soul as you feel grounded and secure throughout the days, weeks, and months ahead. And to anchor this sense of peace and fulfillment inside you, I want you to stay in this stillness a little longer, breathing gently in and out, and silently repeating, I am whole, I am healing, I am open to joy. I am whole, I am healing, I am open to joy. I am whole, I am healing, I am open to joy. I am whole, I am healing, I am open to joy. I am whole, I am healing, I am open to joy. I am whole, I am healing, I am open to joy. And just allow this beautiful energy to sit inside you for a few more minutes, a few more breaths. In and out, and in and out, and in and out. And when you feel ready, gently bring your awareness back to the room, wiggling your fingers and toes, and opening your eyes, feeling refreshed and re-energized and ready to go on. Are you relaxed, Richard?
I am. I am. I try not to do it fully because I just dare not fall asleep because it's always lovely. It's always lovely to do that. So thank you.
It was
again.
really, really funny yesterday when I was doing the past life regressions. We had this guy, and he just went into such a deep sense of a state of relaxation, should I say, that the next thing all we heard was it was like a tractor. It was so funny.
God. Yeah, that's funny.
But these things happen, and obviously that's what his body needed from the things. So these things, and ironically, in the room next door there was actually a yoga group, and they were doing something similar. So that was, I don't know, whatever about this particular hotel that we all use, it seems to attract all the booey people. But there you go. Yes.
Did he wake up, or do you have to prod him?
Oh yeah, well, I had to kind of just nudge him ever so slightly with my finger. I was like, "It's Merlin with the staff."
Bless. Well, I
Sure,
think sometimes it's the first time people get to actually properly relax.
Well, this is it, and I think this is why. I mean, some people do say to us that they come all the time because it's that moment just of being still and allowing themselves to have time with their own thoughts, and it is important to do that every day. And I think, particularly in this day and age, because we've become so disconnected to each other from all of the with all of the social media and stuff like that, we're constantly on our device and stuff, and we're not even looking at one another anymore. Do you know what I mean? It was just quite frightening. I don't know if you guys are having the same shockwave with that TV show that was on Netflix, the one about the young lad who murders the girl, and then there's all sort of a court case. Oh, it's fascinating. It's I can't think of the name of it, but it's a big thing over here at the moment. Why can't I think of the name of it? But yeah, everybody's talking about it, and like they're talking about making it be compulsory viewing in schools and stuff like that. It's all about incels, and there was loads of stuff about emojis and stuff. Anyway, it just goes to show you that once we become disconnected from each other, of course, we have no empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's quite frightening. But yeah, there's big talk about it. Like, why can't I remember the name of it? Anyway, it'll come to me after the show.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pop it on the socials afterwards.
Exactly, yeah. Anyway, so today I thought we're going to have a bit of a sleepless in Seattle moment for our clédons.
Okay.
So we've had loads of people writing into us. And interestingly enough, loads of people writing in with the same questions. Right. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun today. Now, we're going to really seriously answer the questions, but they're going to be as a clédon for everybody because so many people wrote in with the same scenario. Right. So I've invented two fictitious people. Right. We have tired of being the rock, and not as in the rock. Because who'd be tired of that? And then we have, exactly, do you know what I mean? And then we have heart healing in progress. Okay. So, right, tired of being the rock is written into us with, Dear Bears, I've always been the strong one in the family. Everyone comes to me for advice, support, and a shoulder to cry on. Lately, though, I've been feeling completely drained and invisible. It's like no one sees me or asks how I'm doing. I'm starting to feel resentful, but also guilty for feeling that way. Is there a tarot spread or spiritual practice you'd recommend to help me reconnect with my own needs without feeling selfish? Okay. So I sat there and I thought, because a lot of people have written in with something similar, a similar vibe. Okay. So we're going to do a clédon. So for anybody who's written in with that question, this is for you. Okay. So I've created a Reclaiming the Self tarot spread. Okay. So again, it's very simple. There's going to be 3 cards, and we can pull some more if we feel the need. Okay. So Richard is going to act as my dummy. He's my psycho pump for the moment. Okay. And I'm going to tap into his energies and tap into the energy of everybody who's written in with this question. So our first position is going to be, where am I giving too much? And this is going to reveal the energy or area in life where the person has been overextending or self-sacrificing. Okay. The second card is going to be, what part of me is being neglected? So this is going to shine a light on the forgotten self, the inner needs or emotional depletion. Fair enough. And then the third question, the third that I'm going to ask is, how can I lovingly set boundaries and honor myself? Now, that's always very important. This is going to offer some practical and spiritual guidance on reclaiming your power without guilt, because that's a big thing that prevents us from expressing our truth is guilt, or from kind of like looking after our own needs. Because it's like, oh, what happens if somebody, as I always tell everybody, you can't draw from an empty well, you know. And considering a lot of our listeners would be around our own age and would have kind of aging parents and would feel lots of guilt, or they maybe have children or whatever, or whatever their scenarios, they may have friends who need them if they're very young and whatever. And so this is about how we're going to manage our own self-care. So it's reclaiming the self. Remember, looking after yourself isn't selfish, and sometimes you need it so that you can be in the whole of your health to look after everybody else. Okay, I think this is kind of nice one.
Exactly. Yeah. We're gonna go straight into that, my love?
Yes, we're gonna go straight into this. This is our first reading of the day. Okay. So I'm just using the bog standard again, the Morgan Greer tarot deck. I will change it when we have our first guest. Because that will be all very exciting. Oh, me too. It's what I work with people with. So, I do have, Rider-Waite is grand. It's lovely, but I just prefer the colors in this.
I was just going to say, when you talk about colors, I learned so much, because you kind of pinpoint where they use colors in a tiny spot or something. You're like, oh, okay, that's new to me. So I love that. But you're right, you don't find that in the Rider-Waite. It's
no,
in the same way anyway, I think.
Yeah, and when we have our new guest, our first guest, I'm going to show you a little technique I use when I do tarot therapy with some of my clients. So we're going to use the tarot to interview the guest. Great. That's going to be great crack. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes. So I'm going to switch over now so the people on YouTube can look at my camera.
Over to you. There we go. Lovely. That's
so
perfect.
I'm moving my right hand. Can you see my right hand?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, grand. Okay. So, Richard, I want you to focus on the first question. I'm going to say it again. So, where am I giving too much? So, when you're ready, tell me top, middle, or bottom. Stop, top, middle, or bottom. Okay.
Middle.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay. Oh, interesting. That's a very interesting one for that. Okay. So, the next one. So what part of me is being neglected?
Top.
Okay. Ooh, the King of Cups reversed. That just jumped out, so I'm going to put this one in because I feel it's clearly what we're supposed to have. So it's what part of me, so this is, how can I lovingly set boundaries? So how can I lovingly set boundaries and honor myself? And we're after getting the 10 of Swords reversed. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Okay, so clearly if we look at this, okay, look at the predominant colors. Okay, let's across the board. It's yellow. Okay, it's mainly yellows and golds. So that is the sense of identity. Do you remember we said in the meditation earlier, if we talk about it, it's our solar plexus chakra. Yeah, so it's about fear, it's about who we are, it's our impulses. Right, so if we're getting this now, this, remember, with the tarot, the question dictates the energy, right? So if we look at this, we're saying, where am I giving too much, right? So this is the King of Wands, but this isn't in a negative place, because it's about you're doing too much for other people, as opposed to looking after your own needs. Because the King of Wands is an interesting one, because he's able to gather everything together to help those around him. Okay, he's about taking charge of a situation moving forward. So basically, what it's taking is you're taking on everybody's problems, and you're not looking after your own needs. Hence, we have the green leaves, the abundance, it's the health. You're neglecting your own health. And you're burning yourself out. Remember, Wands is the element of fire, creativity, sexuality. So if we're saying that this is, where am I giving too much? And this is about the energy. So you're putting too much energy into looking after the needs of everybody else and forgetting your own time, your own stuff. Does that make sense, Richard?
Yeah. Very much so.
So if we look at this, and we have red, we have orange, we have gold. This is a very, it's like you're totally neglecting yourself, because normally this guy brings everything together to create for the common good, which is a lovely thing. But as this is a negative, because remember, it's where am I putting too much energy? And this is a self-love spread. How am I giving this away? It's you're not looking after your own needs. You're taking no time for yourself. Okay. So that's what it's asking you to do. It's saying, you know, this is the area you're putting too much emphasis on other people's needs and forgetting about yourself. So, which is lovely. And, it is a lovely thing that we do this occasionally, but sometimes it can cost us a lot, because we're losing our own impetus to put into our own work. Does that make sense? And our own creativity. There's no joy. We're losing the joy of moving forwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Which again leads to feelings of resentment and being stuck. So sometimes, even if it's only to take half an hour to read a book and have a moment to yourself, that's what you need to be doing. It's like me, I go and I torture myself in the gym, because obviously I'm a sadist. but that's what it is. It's whatever you need to do for self-care. You're putting too much energy into everything else, which is lovely. But remember, you cannot draw from an empty well. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we look at the next one, what part of me is being neglected? Your emotional life. Because the King of Cups, if he's upright, now this is reverse, or he's an emotional counselor, he's a healer, he's all of those wonderful things, because it's the element of water. And what did I say? You cannot draw from an empty well. So that's kind of telling us that you're spending too much time taking on other people's emotions. So you're drowning in other people's emotions. You're not listening to your own self. So you've forgotten yourself and your inner needs. There's nobody to support you. So this is what it's saying. What part of me is being neglected? Your own inner emotional life. Again, it's a theme that's going for. So you need to do, what do you need to do? You need to kind of look after yourself. Maybe go and talk to somebody, go and have a cup of tea with a friend. A problem shared is a problem halved. Right into Bear's Tea and it's something interesting to talk about. So whatever you need, but remember, this is water, and you see here, if you look at this, the water is green and choppy, right? When it's up, it's the sea, the eyes, the green. Green is healing and health, right? So it's upside down. You're drowning in your own emotions. You're neglecting your own health. You're putting everything before you. So that's what it's asking you to do. You need to do something to find yourself happy. You are neglecting your own emotional and spiritual life. That makes sense.
Very much.
And again, it's like you feeling you've no support, because remember, wand staffs always offer support. That's their function. They're also symbols of authority. You feel like you've no control. Right? That's reversed. So everything is overwhelming you. Okay? So you need to find some way to start tapping into your own emotions, your intuition, and your guidance. Then here, how can I lovingly set boundaries and honor myself? Now, this is quite an interesting one, right? So this is the 10 of Swords. Now, if I turn this up, right, 10s are always completion, right, and endings are always disguised as new beginnings, right, or new beginnings disguised, should I say, right? So let's have a look at this for a second. Now, on a very sort of mundane level, I could tell you need to go and have a massage or some acupuncture, because the 10 swords are along the spine, right? And if you take them out, that will relieve depression. They're all along little chakra points, right? But I want you to have a look at this. So, Richard, can you see the card if I pull it right up to the screen? Can you see the guy's hand?
Is it green? Is it got a green? Was that what you're saying?
Yeah, just look at the shape of it, right? Do you see the gesture he's making? That's the gesture of fate. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, looking at this guy, do you think he's alive or dead?
Well, I think yes. The first flush of that is he's pretty much probably been killed by all those swords in his back. Is the first feeling? Yes.
Okay. Well, actually, he's not.
Well, no, I know. I was going to say, but
but when you look at it first, but yeah, exactly, right. So it means things have come to a standstill, right? Now, what it's telling you is, now remember, this is reversed, so I'm going to give the upright meaning first, okay? So if you look at this, right, this gesture here, the other cards that make it are the Hierophant and, of course, the Devil, right? And the Hierophant is all about connection to the divine. And the devil is a joke of that, but it's also about becoming enslaved to your addictions, right? So you cannot actually make that gesture unless you're alive.
Yeah.
Okay, because you've no motor control, right?
Yeah.
So if you look, he's looking across a frozen landscape into blue, which you remember the realm of the unknown, as we said before, and then with the stars up here, so that's all potential and hope, right? And if we look at the swords the way they are, right, they're all along the chakra points, right? But it's quite an interesting grouping. You see, you've got 3, you've got 1, and you've got 5, right? So remember, I always told you that 3 is a number of creativity, and after we've made a choice, it gives us a creative path to move forward, right? So the 1 is the choice. We choose to create it and move forward, and then 5 brings in the change. Okay, does this make sense?
Yeah, I'm following you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got 3, you've got this 1 here, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which brings peace. Okay.
Great.
So 5 becomes peace and contentment. Okay. So 6 is often 5 brings change. 6 is what you call it is perseverance and peace. Okay. So because you've got the 1 on your own, so you've got the 5 and then the 1 again, but you group it together as 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to put it this way, which is the way we drew it. Okay. So if we look at that again, okay, that's telling us that it's how can I lovingly set boundaries and honor myself? Well, first of all, you need to do something for yourself. You need to find time that you can't be disturbed. Okay. You need to find time to sit with yourself and start thinking about your own future and your own life. Okay. Because remember, this too shall pass. Everything always passes. Right. So sometimes it's about you taking back that moment of your life. Like Pat Longo in her book, she talks about when she just suddenly became like a healer and stuff, and because she started to put her own needs first. She was like that, constantly giving and giving and giving, right? So what it's saying is sometimes you need to put your own needs first so that you can start to nurture yourself, and then your own road will open in front of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very much. Yeah.
So if we talk The Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety, that's the name of her book. I was having a junior senior moment there. Mercury retrograde was still happening in my head. But what it's telling us is then that this is it. You need to have time out. And I'm going to say this because a lot of people don't like to hear this, right? No one forces you to do anything you don't want to do. Right. So there's a bit of acceptance needs to go on. Okay. Situations occur, yes, and it's how we react to them, okay? And yes, we have to look after people who are sick, or yes, we have to do this, this, and this. But, and those are extreme circumstances. But there still doesn't mean that we can't ask for help. We have to acknowledge where we are, and that's the biggest. The reaching out for help is the biggest thing you need to do. Whatever that help looks like, whether it's go and have a coffee with a friend, join something for yourself, just have time for yourself. That's what this is, because you've brought yourself to this point. And then to move forward, you need to find some way of focusing on your own future so that you can get yourself out of this situation. Okay, because people constantly coming to you with problems is exhausting if you don't know how to deal with them. After all, no man is an island. Yeah.
True.
So what you need to do is you need to find ways of nurturing the self, whatever that looks like to you. Okay, because you need to start being future focused. Otherwise, every day is going to be the same, and you're going to become stuck in a rut. This is all about taking back self-love. How do I get out of this situation? Well, it's that you just need to start putting your own needs first. So setting boundaries and kind of go, okay, look, turn off the phone 1 hour a week so nobody can talk to you or reach you, and go and do something with that time. Go for a walk in the park, listen to your favorite music, whatever it is you need for self-care. And it doesn't have to be an hour, even if it's only 10 minutes a day, whatever it is, it looks like to you, you need to do it. That's just saying you need to start putting your own needs first, because otherwise you become burnt out and become absolutely useless to anybody, which is where the King of Wands comes back in. Does that make sense?
It really does, because I think a lot of us are guilty of some of this anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does resonate.
Yeah. Any questions? Do you want me to draw on anything else, Richard?
I think probably what people might be sitting with is I hear all that, but what's my first? What do I do next? Because I think the question had a lot about, like, I feel guilty about saying no to people. So I think, I think what you've said is great, but I think people might be frightened of that next move. How do I tell somebody, oh, I haven't got time for you? What does that really look like, for in that next moment, maybe?
Well, when I was learning to be a therapist, I remember I had to go to so many hours of therapy to train. And I always remember my therapist, Tony Griffin, he turned around and said to me, the most wonderful line is, you first after me. Right? You first after me. Right? So that doesn't mean that you're not going to help them. It just means I can help you now. So this is what you can say. It's like, yeah, I'm happy to help you. I can't do it now at this exact minute, but if you give me an hour or something, I'll ring you back. Because unless it's like a life and death situation, you can do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's about, again, and that's putting a boundary in because you're respecting yourself and you're still going to help them. So you're not kind of saying no, but you're saying not now.
It's almost like scheduling, just be better at scheduling so that you can do it and get in your, I like that. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Great.
It's scheduling. It's just about making sure that you still have time for yourself, that you're not depleted. So you're still going to help that person, but you're going to do it at a time that suits you, not them.
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah. Lovely.
Because once you start to put yourself first, even just once, it'll set a precedence. And then they'll go, okay, yeah, that's grand. And you just start to move forward that way because your own soul begins to recognize that you're beginning to stick up for yourself.
Yeah. Lovely.
Does that make sense?
Very much for me. Yeah.
Always remember that wonderful piece of advice. You first after me.
You first after me. Love it.
Yeah. As I said, unless it's a life or death situation, most people will go, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And it's like I have my week off now in April, and already the friends are coming out of the woodwork going, can I come and meet you? Can I have coffee and stuff like that? So, yeah, but I'm scheduling it at times that suit me because I literally want at least 3 days where I don't talk to anybody, living or dead. So, and that's very important for my work because I exhausted, listening to people.
Yeah.
Like I have living people and dead people telling me their problems. So sometimes you just have that time out. It's like with spirit. When spirit is coming to me, I have boundaries in place. They know they're only allowed to come to me when the candle is on. And I'm sitting in my office, sitting in a certain place. And obviously they come to me if there's an emergency or other funny things. But I didn't get. Oh my God! I'll tell you this. I'll reveal this. So spirit did kind of overstep one day.
Come back into video, my lovely. Let's
come back into video. Come back into video. So I was on a date a few weeks ago. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Yes. So I was on a date a few weeks ago, and so I was getting very close to my paramour, and the next thing I started smelling smoke, cigarette smoke. I don't smoke, nor does he, and I could smell this really acrid smoke. And then I'm like, what's the smell of smoke? And he said, I can't smell anything. I'm like, okay. And I said, no, there's definitely smoke. And the next thing I could feel this female energy, and I went, uh-oh. So it turns out it was his mother coming through. She had passed away several years earlier from a lung disease, and she was a smoker. So that's when spirit shouldn't come through, but usually in working situations it only comes through when I'm in rituals. So yes, there you go. But yes, so that can be a bit of fun. But sure, anyway, there we go.
That's so great. Yeah. That's great. So that's
it's a bit of a good advice. So again, setting boundaries. It's easier than people think it is, but it's the way that you do it. You don't want to do it in an aggressive, nasty way because that only causes more problems. But it's about think about the situations, and you can go, yeah, I'm happy to help. It doesn't suit me now, and you schedule it for when it does.
I think the flip side of that could be also, help them to help themselves, so that you're not always being called upon, so that you're freeing up time without having to say no. You can say, well, I'll help you now. You can do it like, I'll help you now but I'm going to help you to help yourself, so that
Exactly.
it's your time.
Yeah.
That's another way. That's just what popped into my head.
Exactly. It's situation dependent. So like if it is
Yeah.
something that you can teach them to do themselves, yeah, that's fine. Teach them to do it themselves,
Yeah.
and because that empowers them as well to make their own headway. And again, nobody's feelings are hurt. You're not exhausted, So
Yeah.
so you can do it. It's about what's going to bring you peace. So
Yeah.
you're going to help them, but at a time and a place of your choosing.
Very good, my love.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. So shall we move on to heart
Yeah.
healing in progress?
Tell us
Okay.
this one, my lovely.
So heart healing in progress. Again, this is something that comes through because grief is something that touches us all. Okay, in all of its unusual forms. So, hi bears. Okay, now grief can also, it doesn't mean loss of a person like into the spirit world. It can also be relationships, and this is going to be a big one for a lot of us. Okay, because bears of a certain age, as Richard and I are, relationships are tricky, and sometimes when a relationship comes to an end, no matter what age you are, there's going to be a period of grief and mourning. Okay, so this is about how do I move on after a breakup, basically, which is a very common question for a tarot reader to get. Okay, so what the question is hi bears, I've recently come out of a long-term relationship, and while I know it was the right decision, I'm struggling with loneliness and self-doubt. I keep wondering if I'm lovable or if I've missed my shot at real love. I want to believe the universe has something beautiful ahead for me, but it's hard. Can the cards help me clarify or hope about love and my future? So that's very common. I get that quite a lot. Okay, so I mean,
especially the age bit. I think when people get to a certain age, you think that's it. You think, well, I'm not 25 anymore. How am I ever going to find somebody? And I didn't find mine until I was in my, what am I now? In my early 40s. So it can happen. It can. I think it's attitude. Anyway, you'll tell us.
Well, this is it. Exactly it. It is it. I mean, I suspect. I've read my own cards because, as you know, I'm single for quite a number of years. Now I'm mingle, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm still single. But, I mingle. But I do have. I it's come up in the cards. Apparently, I'm supposed to meet somebody, but I'm kind of like, okay, yeah. But I'm a fairly confident person, so I carry myself, so I don't have any of those doubts, which is also a big thing, because if you've been in a long-term relationship, you have to learn how to be a single person again, and because you've become part of a couple. And I think this is what people forget. So you have to begin to reclaim your own identity as a single again. And that's part of it too. It's not just like, because remember, two become one. And then that becomes divided again. But you've learned things from this relationship, good or bad, which will imprint on you. So it's about learning to be happy in your own skin first.
I mean, that's
the biggest piece of advice. Yeah.
I think the first step is not thinking that you need a second person to be happy again. I think that's the wrong way around.
Exactly. And this is like Hollywood and all this kind of stuff, even though we still want to go there, does tell us this, that you need to have, but no, you don't. You need to be happy in yourself first.
Well, that's what practically, that's the irony, is that
your vibe attracts your tribe.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. So you've got to reattune yourself almost. I mean, look at us old biddies telling all the advice anyway before the cards, but you've got to learn to be you, whatever that looks like, and a happy you will make a confident you. So,
exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do is, so this is the love after loss spread. Okay. So the first position is, what is the truth about my heart right now? So this is going to provide us with an honest reflection of where you are emotionally and spiritually post-breakup, because some people mightn't be ready, and that's why things aren't working. Some people, these people, there's lots of them that like they break up tomorrow and they're back on the market by Saturday. Do you know what I mean? Like, you mightn't be in the headspace to go and date. You have to allow the time to honor what you've lost, and if you are ready, fantastic, knock yourself out, but most of us aren't. Okay, so remember, what is the truth about my heart right now? Okay, the second question is, what lesson or gift came from this past relationship? Okay, that's a big one, because sometimes everybody comes into our life to teach us something, good or bad. So this highlights how your soul grew during that relationship, and it gives the insights gained, even though some of them might have been painful, because you then decide, well, I don't want this, or I need to work on this in myself, because remember, it takes two to tango. Okay. And then the third question is, what energy is emerging for me in love? Okay, so this gives a glimpse of healing, new beginnings, or possibilities ahead. Okay, so we got the Magician. I'm quite loving that, but we can't put that out, so we'll go for another one, because I didn't draw on Richard's energy. So I'm going to flip over, but actually we're going to use the Magician as a sort of a thing going, everything lies inside yourself. That's what the Magician means. You have everything it takes, but it's all inside yourself. So we're gonna use that as the theme. So it's pretty much what Richard and I were just talking about there a second ago. So let's have a go. So what is the truth about my heart now? So Richard, when you're ready, stop, top, middle, bottom.
Bottom.
Okay, bottom. Oh, the star, I'm loving that. Okay, so then what lesson or gift came from this past relationship? So again, top, middle, bottom.
I'm going to go top. This one.
Okay. Ooh. The Ace of Swords reversed. That's an interesting one. Okay. And then what energy is emerging for me in love? Okay. So
bottom again.
Bottom, okay. Oh, I like that. And look at that. That's the Knight of Cups, which if you're talking about moving forward in love, that's amazing. Okay. So what is the truth about my heart right now? Okay. You haven't given up hope, because think about it this way. You wouldn't have written into me if you'd given up hope. Yeah. That's what the star is all about. And it also says, if we look here over here, can you see the ibis, the red ibis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The ibis represents Thoth, the Egyptian scribe god, right? Who's also Hermes in disguise, right? So if we look at this, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stars, right? Thoth was telling us that the story isn't over yet. You're still in control of this part of the story, okay? So new beginning is possible. 8 represents obstacles normally, but remember, this is a hope card. So what it's telling us, what do we do with obstacles? We overcome them. Okay. The woman represents the goddess Persephone, okay, who, as we know, was kidnapped into the underworld by Hades, right? But she fell in love with him. But she's also a goddess of death and rebirth. Hence, we have the waters, the 2 different waters being poured into the ground and into the stream. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we have the new flower growing, right? And you have the different things. So she's using disparate elements to combine them to make something new. So basically, you haven't given up hope. It's telling you, it's up to you how the next chapter unfolds. But this is about you deciding where it is you want and where you want to focus your energy. Okay, so what is the truth about my heart right now, right? So you've learned your lesson, because this is also about, you've been in the winter, right? Because remember, she goes into the underworld. Okay, so she's been dead. So it's about time for you to emerge. So your heart is ready to move on. And this is why you're asking the question. Yes, you're afraid, but you wouldn't come near someone like me if you weren't ready to move on. So the hope is still there, and you need to start building that. So then you need to now become very clear, because remember, it's about you creating your own story. So manifestation, be very, very clear on what it is you want in a relationship going forward. This is what you're being told. Okay, does this make sense, Richard?
Yes, very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we then look at this card, now this is quite interesting. What lesson or gift came from this past relationship? So this shows how your soul grew during this relationship, and it might have been painful. So
that's the Ace of Swords, just
the Ace of Swords, yeah, but it's reversed. right? So the Ace of Swords is about cutting away what no longer serves us, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So the fact that this has come out reversed to me, giving the energy of this reading and the way we're going, okay? Because remember, it's what is the lesson, even if it is painful? It is that you're not going to settle for what no longer serves you. Okay? Because maybe you were settling. It's about you putting your own ideas, dreams, and hopes first this time. Because if we look at it this way, swords is thoughts. Okay? So you're not going to let anybody's negative thinking hold you back anymore. Because remember, death and rebirth with this card, because we're cutting away all the old stuff and we're about to regrow. So basically, perhaps the relationship was somebody constantly put you down, or they made you believe, they made you very dependent and you felt like you were weak or whatever, or basically you just were no longer aligned. You wanted to move forward and you felt guilty in this relationship. So it's about you taking back the control of your own thoughts to move forward and go, no, I'm not going to settle for anything less than I deserve. I'm not just going to take the first person that comes along. I'm going to be really discerning about the relationship that's coming towards me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's going to say, it's the insight is that you've reclaimed your own sense of self. You're in the process of doing so. Now, it's not easy, because sometimes we might have been in a relationship where somebody told us constantly how lucky we were to have them, and that completely eroded our our sense of confidence, and we have to rebuild on that. Or we're moving on from the painful past, or whatever. It's time to move on. Or we've had a string of bad relationships, but again, it gets back to you. The primary source is you have to love yourself, and this is what it means. What does self-love look like to you? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then finally, what energy is emerging for me in love? Now, this is lovely because it's the Knight of Cups, which is the romantic figure. So basically, you have to start falling in love with yourself. You need to start charging ahead and finding what makes you happy. Okay? Because remember, we've got the green moving through the blue into the green. Okay? So basically, the green is always the foreground, as the Empress is the realm of the known, it's what we know. The water always represents the High Priestess, the realm of the unknown, okay, the subconscious, so our dreams. So we're taking actions on our dreams to move forward and create the new world that we want, which is just on the other side of the river. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're being protected, we're being guided, hence the wings on the helmet. The cloak is interesting because it has 2 stripes for red, so it's about choice to put our own needs first. Back to that root chakra energy. Can you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we start to tap into that, it will guide us for us, give us the strength to move forward. And we move past all of the fear and the doubt which is over here and move into the new future. So it's about taking actions on what it's going to be like for you. So there's a lot of healing around this, new beginnings, but it's about you getting very, very clear on what it is you want in a romantic partner, and the life that you want to live and the things that you want to do together. So what I would say to you is this is something I give to people, because again, as both a therapist and as a psychic, people come to me constantly with this question, and I will always say to them one thing: who are you? What do you have to offer? Because once you know that, then again, your vibe will attract your tribe. So there's no point in waiting for the what you call it, the milk tray man to jump through the window. That's not going to happen. So you need to kind of wait and think. You need to think about, well, what do I want to do? Where do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be with? But that all begins with, who are you? Against your vibe attracts your tribe. What makes you tick? What makes you happy? So write out a list of all the qualities that you want in a person, and then you have to show your subconscious how you represent them, how you show up in your own life. So you go, okay, I want a partner who's honest. Well, what does honesty look like to you? And again, concentrate in moments where you felt that honesty, you've acted it. They're adventurous. Well, what does that look like to you? Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Because that's what manifestation isn't a passive process. It's about using your subconscious to clear out, as a filter, to clear out all the noise. Yeah. So that you become solely focused on what it is that you want. Okay. So, and I'm going to say this, yes, some people say that looks aren't important. Well, they kind of are. You have to figure out what it is you're attracted to.
Well, absolutely. I think. I mean, let's come back
No.
to the joint studio, my lovely.
Come back to the joint studio.
Yeah, I think that.
Hello.
Hello, there you are.
Are we back?
Yes, we're back. I think it's such a difficult one because I think from my work in the bear community over the years, and you know, bears as what bears are, maybe it's not, you know, well, it's a mixed one. Here's the thing: the media tells us what is attractive and
what we should look like, exactly.
And the media for so many years has said, you know, some level of thinness or muscleness, and youth is what's attractive. The irony being, when you talk to people, not everyone's attracted to that. And I think the sooner we can think about, well, everyone is attracted to somebody. You know, everyone.
Aren't we grateful?
Well, everyone is attractive to somebody. Not everyone. None of us are attractive to everyone, but we're all attracted to someone. And I think when you get, and again, this goes back into my past work. You know, I've worked when I was in the wedding industry with my good friend Anthony, who you know. We work with models in the wedding industry, and even you know, they're considered the beautiful people of the world, but they had such of their own insecurities about their look that you could sit and be baffled by it. But actually, what it is humans. Every single human doesn't you know, especially with the way the media tells us what's got to be attractive. We don't meet that standard, but that's a fake standard. That's a fake standard set by an industry who makes money telling people what they should look
people
like.
Insecure, exactly.
But actually, once you find, as you said, the tribe, or like, you know, if you're somebody who's big, burly, and hairy, well, go and find the bear community, because you'll be very attractive there. You know, and I think it's about that. Part of it is the going into yourself is like, well, what do I find lovely, and where do I find those lovely people that I feel I belong to? Go and do something like, you know, go and take a pottery class, go and do an art class, go and join a community, go and volunteer. Do put yourself where other human beings are and see what those interactions are. You might, I mean, find love.
Do what make
and those friends,
and that may
find you attractive. It's anyway. So, you know, that's my
exactly, and that's it. I mean, that's what if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's never going to happen. So you need to change. You need to break it up a bit. You know, find what's going to make you happy, because after all, we're at our most attractive when we're happy.
This is the thing. This is the thing.
So if you want love, be very clear on how you're showing up. Be very clear on what it is that you want. Very clear on how you're showing up in your life to represent this. Again, and then think about. Well, what can I do to make sure that I'm widening the net to find this? You know, and that takes the pressure off, because if you go into a community that's full of people that are interested in things that you like, then you're going to find somebody. But you need to be very clear on what it is that you want, because if you're second guessing the universe will always second guess you.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think you've also got to say yes to a lot of things. It's like, say yes to. I when I was younger, it would always be, you know, you'd think about, well, I've been invited to this thing, but it's an hour on the tube, or I haven't got a lot of money. And it's like, just get off your ass and go. You never know what might happen. You might meet a friend who's in exactly the same position, or you sat next to somebody at a dinner party, if that's your thing, and like, they're lonely too, or
it's a bit like Sliding Doors, isn't it? Do you remember that film? Sliding Doors. You just don't know what's going to open. I mean, I had, when I was 39,
as much as you can.
Yeah. When I was 39 and I was going to 40, I decided that I was going to have the year of yes. And I ended up having one of the best years of my entire life. I had so many interesting adventures. I ended up in South Africa at a 50th birthday party, and I met this guy in a balcony. I ended up in a 2-week safari. Then I ended up being flown to Thailand to an island resort for my 40th by this guy I was having an affair with. And then I ended up all sorts of mad things. I had my birthday party, my 40th birthday party at the Moulin Rouge. I had all amazing things, all just because I kept saying yes. I didn't worry about anything because I knew it would all take care of itself. You know, so you know. Say yes, you just never know.
That's it. You know, we've got to stop being so hard on ourselves for these things. And as you said, learn the lessons and try and always be moving forward. Stop looking at the past. That's too hard as well. You know, you've got, and do tiny things to make yourself happy, whatever that looks like as well. You know, you don't have to say yes to a safari just yet, but if there's say yes to being invited for a cup of coffee, because then that's
Exactly.
an easy thing to say yes to, and that's down the street maybe, or on a bus ride away. Begin there, you know.
Exactly.
It's
Take the chance. You just don't
the
know.
universe will guide you. That's the thing. The universe will take you to the right direction.
Yeah, because the thing is, the thing is, you have to ask yourself, why? Like, if you really do sit with your intuition and you feel fearful, okay, well then you know that's not for you. But if you're kind of like second guessing it and kind of go, is it you're trying to stay in your comfort zone? Like, what can half an hour drink with somebody do to you? Do you know what I mean? You can go off and go somewhere else. You know. You just don't know. And maybe if you went and you had this coffee, you go for this drink and it didn't work out, and then you go off and you end up, getting a phone call, and I'm already out. I'll go meet some friends, and God only knows what could happen. You know, you just have to be open to the universe giving you the surprise, because it never usually works out the way that you plan it.
Well, that's it. I mean, you're right. The milk tray man, as lovely as that commercial is,
he ain't gonna cab sail through the window. Believe you me, I've cleaned them many times hoping.
I do like it. There is that one though that says, I do like that term, like clear out a drawer or make space in your wardrobe.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. I do like that one.
Living in the moment.
But you're still going to go out for the coffee. Like they still won't come to the front door.
No. What I would do, I've actually said this, and it does actually work. I got them to clear a space in their wardrobe and a bedside locker, because you're already training your subconscious mind that they're off limits because they belong to somebody else. So you're putting it out there that somebody's living with you. It's like that woman that used to set the table, for dinner for 2 people at nighttime, because she was training her brain to realize that there was somebody there.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
So you remember the subconscious. Once the subconscious can conceive of something, it becomes reality. Remember, use your subconscious as a filter. So become very clear on what it is you want and start really looking at it that way.
Lovely. Lovely.
So will we finish off with a quick general reading for everybody for the energy for the upcoming month?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to do know, grow, and let go.
Yeah. Yes. It's for all of us, this one. I love this.
Yes. So we're going to do know, grow, and let go. Okay. So I'm going to switch over to that. Where is that settings? Dum-dum. I'm really enjoying today's episode. It's lovely.
Great. It's great. And I love that we got so many questions of the same thing.
Yeah, because it just shows we're all going through the same stuff.
Well, that, and hopefully we're answering a lot more people's kind of things at the same time, which is great. We all go through those things, I think, as well. That's the other thing. Even if you're not going through it now, you might not. You might be in the future. So,
when you're ready, Richard,
I'm going to start in the middle for this one.
Okay. Oh no, King of Pentacles, liking that one. Okay, tell me when. Grow.
I will do a bottom.
Bottom. Liking that.
And just to round it out, let's go for a top.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, isn't that interesting? Because we had the magician come out for that other question that was telling us, and now it's come out reversed. That's quite good. Okay, so what we need to know, what we need to grow, and what we need to let go of over the next couple of weeks. So what we need to know is the King of Pentacles. We are going to be fine. Everything is going to work out for us. The King of Pentacles is, look at him, he's covered in grapes and green and abundance, right? You need to get over your fears that things are going against you, because he's the energy of Taurus. And lovely, because we're coming into that energy from April 20th. Okay, so this is, and I'm a Taurus, so I love that. So this is really good. So things are going to work out for us. We will be the king of our castle. Stability and grounding. It's just we need to stay grounded for the next while and just have that faith that things are going to work out, because they actually are. Anything that we're worrying about will all dissolve, because it won't become matter. I know the world has gone crazy, but this is what it's saying. You just have to have a little bit more patience, and victory is coming, because look at the laurel wreath, okay? What we need to grow, this is interesting considering what we've been talking about today. 4 of Wands. Wands are all about fire, okay? Fire is creation. It's that sexual energy, okay? This is the card of weddings, okay, and celebration and joy, okay? So if you look at it, it has a hoopah, okay? So 4 again, so it's that grounding energy. So again, what we need to grow, we need to just work on that energy. Again, the yellows, can you see all this? And trust that, put our energy into what it is that we're trying to create, okay? Spend time with friends, relationships. We need to nurture what brings us out of our shell, so that we need to start building the community to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Because if we look at even the four rods, I don't know if you can see this, right? They're all tied together with red strings. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So that's that grounding energy. So surround yourself with people in order to grow. You know, start spending time with people and friends and family who make you happy, who are interested in what you're interested in. Because again, can you see all the leaves, the growth? Yeah. And that will bring spending time on what makes you happy, what makes you tick, is what you need to do to start bringing you out of this malaise that you're in. You know, again, your vibe attracts your tribe. Everything is going to be fine. Fuel your passions. Do things that make you happy. Follow that creative impulse. Spend time doing things like that. That will give you the stability that you need, because it's about trusting in yourself, okay? And then finally, what we need to let go of. And I love this, because it's the Magician reversed. Now, the Magician is the most powerful thing for manifesting, okay? But what we need to let go of is the fear of the future. We need to remember, this is why he's reversed in this position. We need to remember that we have everything inside of us and around us to create what we're trying to do. Because if you look at him upright, right, he's channeling the energy from Father Sky into Mother Earth, which is, you know, basically the male energy into the female, into the womb of creation to manifest, right? We've got the white rose and the white lily and the red rose. That's the divine feminine and masculine in perfect balance. We've got the chalice, we've got the sword, we've got the wand and the pentacle. That represents the 4 elements. And of course, he's channeling the energy from Father Sky into Mother, the pneuma and the infinity loop, okay? So that's the spirit. So you've got everything inside of you to manifest what it is that you want. So you need to get over the fear that you need to have another teacher, you need to have another mentor, you need to have this, that, and the other. No, you've done all that. You need to spend time with people who will encourage you to do this, yes, but you need to also trust in your own experience, your own energies, your own creative juices to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah.
So trust the process and realize that you don't need to go out externally. You don't need any more validation. You don't need any more courses. You actually are ready to take this, but you need to take the chance. So this is about trust. Okay. And if you look, it's all yellows through. It's the fear. It's the root. It's the solar plexus chakra. It's your sense of identity. It's about harnessing the fact that you are enough to move forward.
Very good.
Yeah. Wonderful. Which is kind of lovely considering we did a whole thing on hope today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great.
I love when that happens. It's so freaky. So yes, that is our reading for today.
Lovely. Well done. Thank you for all of that. 3 great, I guess, clédons in a way. 3 clédons.
Yeah, it was 3 clédons for today.
Specific ones as well, in a way.
Yeah, I'm super excited about our next episode because we're having our first guest on.
Oh, yes, we don't know. Well, we think we know who it is, but we can't say.
They just haven't confirmed just yet.
So we'll yeah, and we're going to work out dates to make sure it's coordinated with them. But yes, the next episode we're hoping will be with a guest.
Yes, that'll be fun because, as I said, I'm going to use the tarot to interview them, which has never been done before publicly. So I do it in private practice when I'm doing coaching and stuff like that, but it'll be very interesting to use to see what comes up for them. Some people might be frightened, but, you know, we'll coax them. It'll be lovely.
Go on, sorry.
Go on.
No, I think I'll talk to them before they come on and explain what's going to happen, and they'll either agree to it or not. But if they don't agree to it, they can't be on the show. I mean, that's what they know.
Yeah, exactly.
People that want to be on the show know what the show's about. So I think we'll be fine.
Exactly. And we're lovely. We don't bite.
Exactly.
That costs extra.
Exactly. Well, yes.
Exactly. We drink tea though. So
10 packets of tea. Thank you very much.
yes, that'd be lovely. Lots of packets of tea. What was I going to say to you? Yes. So if people would like to have questions answered, please, please, please send them in to info@bears.tea and tarot. That's info@bears, TEAAND, tarot.com. And we'll be happy to answer them because we're going to need them. So the format of the show going forward will hopefully be the first episode of the month will be all about you guys, okay, and your questions, and Richard and I just shooting the breeze. And then the second episode we'll have a special guest, but we'll always do a clédon for everybody each episode, so don't worry about that. There's always going to be some guidance, but we just kind of mix it up. We'll have some special guests as well.
Fantastic.
So it'll be great crack.
Yeah, so keep writing in because every other episode will be we'll be looking to answer a question or two where possible. So yeah, this has been great.
And what we might do is what Richard and I have been talking about this is that when we move a little bit forward, we might do it around the equinox because that would be great crack for the summer solstice. Would be that we might auction off a free reading for one of you guys, and that you could come on the show and I'll read live for you on air.
That would be fantastic.
Yes,
that's great. That'd be lovely.
It'd be great crack. So so keep your ears peeled for that one, or eyes. I'm never sure because I know we're on everything. So yeah, the waves.
We've got our feet under the table now. We're going to start getting used to having guests. So we'll have a few guests on, and then I think we'll but what are we now? So it's April. So yeah. Well, Easter's Easter's later this month. So our next
Easter's next
week. When's the equinox? You're better informed on that. When's that?
The solstice will be in June.
Oh, yeah. We'll build up to that. Okay.
Yeah, we can build up to that, so we can start doing that. Yeah, Easter's actually Easter's next week because it's Easter is next. So we're on what date are we now? We're on the 7th. So Good Friday is the 18th, the 20th. So that's it starts next Friday. No, and then I'm off to Glastonbury with the cult for my birthday.
Tune right in to the
exactly all that. Exactly. Oh, I'm really excited about that because I'm having a feeling there's going to be some spiritual downloads over there. But yes, it'll be good. Great. All right. Well then, listen, my darlings, we've had a blast, and I've really enjoyed this episode today. I really have.
No, it's been lovely. Lots sent out to the world today, so hopefully that helped a lot of people. And also, let us know if we have helped. I think if you've emailed in and we've given a message out there, obviously we don't know who gets what. But please give us some feedback. We'd love to hear it too.
Exactly. All right then. Well, listen, we will end the episode there. See you soon, darlings. Bye.
See you soon, everyone.